Episode 4 of Secret Invasion is called Beloved and centers around the story of Nick Fury and his wife and goes more into their backstory as well as following up a little bit, not too much on the Talos Gaia story, although it's not really the main focal point. A lot of this episode was about this sort of connection between Nick Fury and his wife and this poem that she basically told him about many years ago that he remembered. So Priscilla is ordered, and this was like the cliffhanger last week. She's ordered by War Machine, by Rhodey, to take out Nick Fury. Now, right off the hop, in my own mind, it really does seem like this Rhodey is not the real Rhodey and it's another Skrull. And the reason why I say that is because it's hard to swallow the idea of an Avenger wanting to take out Nick Fury. It's just very tough to even imagine that. He is the one that brought them together. He's devoted his life to good and prosperous things and to protecting those who could not be protected. And Rhodey has very similar core values. So even if it may seem like Nick Fury is guilty, I feel like the real Rhodey might be a bit too smart to fall for this and knows the Skrulls and everything. And it really feels like this is not the same Skrull. Now I'm sorry, not the same Rhodey, it's a Skrull. Now I'm gonna say this. If it ends up being a Skrull, while it makes sense based on the characteristics of Rhodey in this episode, it's also going to be a bit of a letdown because it's almost too telegraphed. What I mean by that is they're making it more than obvious that he is a Skrull to where when the twist comes that he's not a Skrull, if that twist should come, it's going to be probably more of a twist than him being a Skrull. It just really seems, based on how these scenes are shot, his behavior, that it's not the real Rhodey. What ends up happening, of course, is Priscilla ends up not killing Fury because of a promise that she made to the body, the real body, like the person who actually had the body before they passed away. It's kind of a scary thought, too, when you think about it. There was this lady who the Skrull had known who was dying of this disease, and she made her make three promises, which one of them was to protect and to not hurt Nick Fury. Now I'm not sure if she meant that emotionally or physically, but they have this sort of standoff, and neither one of them kill each other. Now, this, of course, leads to a scene later on where Nick Fury meets up with War Machine and he's got this bottle of wine and, they're talking. And already I'm smelling a fish here in the sense of it. They even said, like, Rhodey even joked, like, is there poison in this? And I was thinking that too. I was thinking, okay, there might be some kind of chemical in this that's going to reveal that Rhodey, this version of Rhodey, is a Skrull. So it's almost like when they were writing this, they already knew that the audience would become suspicious. But that winds up not being the case. But I think I heard Nick Fury say nanotech. And it feels like that's going to come into play later. It feels like maybe there is nanotechnology, microscopic robots, possibly even inside of the drink, that's going to reveal that version of Rhodey as not being the real War Machine. I have this funny feeling that Rhodey is probably going to be doing something. If this ends up being a Skrull, that the real Rhodey was probably doing something else, probably even the events of Ironheart or Iron Wars, Armor Wars. I'm sorry, Armor Wars. And I feel like it could be possible that those two shows, that one and this one, are kind of intertwining at the same time. That could be a possibility. So that scene, again, they're almost blatantly telegraphing this. It was a very interesting situation. So what ends up happening is that Rhodey and Nick Fury have a very tense scene, and Nick tries to explain to him about the Skrulls being close to the president, and one's very close. And again, they are telegraphing that it is Rhodey, and that Nick Fury is kind of reading his face and reading his mouth movements and reading how he behaves to see if this is really the guy who he's worked with for so many years. It just really does feel that way. Now, the big cliffhanger of the episode is they The Skrulls, under the control of Gravik, go and take out the president. They fire a rocket to attack the president's convoy, and it seems like this is the act of them switcherooing everybody. There's a battle, and the big finish is that Talos gets injured. He gets injured, and Nick Fury's got the gun, and he shoots Gravik, who actually, reveals himself to be Gravik, who then kills Talos. So it feels like where they're going is that we're supposed to believe that Talos is also dead. Now, the one thing I got to be honest about here is this is kind of getting long in the tooth. This is now the third episode out of 4 where the cliffhanger is, oh my God, somebody died. It's literally the same thing. And Gravik's the one that's actually the one committing the act. So I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, I appreciate a good cliffhanger. I appreciate where they want to keep us dialed in for the next couple of weeks. There's only 2 more episodes left in the season. If they even come back and do more, we don't know yet. But it just feels somewhat like lazy writing, because if Talos really is dead, if Talos really is dead, then it's an unusual story because I don't believe it. At the same time, if he is dead, it's another character being killed that I still don't believe is never coming back, especially with the incoming Secret Wars and the variant and whatnot. So it's almost like it's becoming a cheap trick. You understand what I'm saying? It's becoming a cheap trick, and I'm rolling my eyes. I swear, if episode 5 ends with us thinking that Nick Fury's almost dead, which it might, because let's not forget that it's, he is the main character. And teasing the finale as having no Nick Fury would be enticing, but I also feel like it's going to be very cheap. You understand what I'm saying? It's almost like they've gone to the well once too many times with this. And there are other cliffhangers, clever ones at that, other things they can do to keep us enticed for the upcoming week, especially when we know that this is the last show that this fake out is going to actually work right in, because of all the shows in the Marvel Disney Plus library, this is the one that's supposed to purposely subvert our expectations, and the one where we most suspect that the death is not really them, that it's actually a Skrull pretending to be them. You understand what I'm saying? Of all the shows, this is the one where that type of cliffhanger works least effectively. Those of you who understand storytelling, you kind of know what I'm talking about. And even if you don't, surely you got to understand where I'm coming from when I say they've gone to the well too many times with that cliffhanger, because I just don't believe it. I just don't believe. I could buy Maria Hill. I could buy that one in episode 1. By this point, I'm not sure if I believe it. So 2 more episodes to go in this series, and we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. After this, I believe Ahsoka will be the big Disney Plus, live action show. So I'm sure I'll be covering that when it comes around in August. I did talk about the trailer yesterday here on the channel. So those are my thoughts. Take care, and I'll see you guys for the next episode of Secret Invasion.